Hello everyone, this is Kathy Grosskirth with Bookkeeping Clean and Simple here in Austell, Georgia near Metro Atlanta. And today I'm going to continue my focus on the banking center, primarily showing you the order of operations of adding transactions from the For Review Center into the categorized area. But before I do that, I want to make sure I remind you of a couple of things. Before you even start the process, it's important that you order your accounts accordingly. As you can see, I have mine already ordered with the checking first, then the savings, and then the MasterCard, and whatever works for you, because ideally you want to work from left to right or from top to bottom, depending on whether or not you have this area closed up here. If you have this area closed up here, you're going to work from top to bottom. Otherwise, if you have this area open where you can see each little play card here, then you're going to work from left to right in working these accounts. You want to work all transactions within each area before you move on to the next. That helps eliminate a lot of the duplication that many people experience when they're working in the banking center. So with that said, we are on step 2 of our order of operations. We are going to be adding transactions from the register. And what you can see when I click on the categorize is that we've already handled the matching. Now, I did that in the previous video, so you'll want to watch that to see that process. We started off with 25 transactions and we've whittled it down to 9. So we're going to go back to For Review. And what we're going to do here is we're in the new updated version of the Banking Center in the Craig's Landscape and Design sample file. So you may not see this in your file. So what you're probably going to want to do is make sure that you click on all transactions or recognize. At this point, we don't have any recognized transactions. If I click on that, you'll see what I'm talking about because they couldn't find anything. And the reason why that's important, and I'm going to go ahead and clear that out, and that'll take us back to our uncategorized transactions that we have here. And there's 9 of them matching with what it says here, is that QuickBooks Online uses artificial intelligence that'll help it recognize transactions that you are entering in the register. So that way, if you enter something one way, it's going to actually remember that for the next time. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and work with these first 2 right here, A1 rental. And you can actually, and what I did is I actually added the description and the payee columns. I have copy bank detail to memo and show bank details. And at one point I had check number, but I took that out of there. But those are sticky settings. So if you turn those on, you should see that. It helps me to have the bank descriptions. So that way when I have my banking statements, and you're always going to want to have your bank statements or your credit card statements handy. So make sure you remember that because you want to go through and match those to what's on the bank or credit card statements to see if they're accurate and to make sure there's no duplication coming through there. So for these 2 right here, we have 2 that are basically new payees. So we don't have anything listed for them here. We can add these on the fly, which is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and do A1 rental as our and I'm going to add that as a vendor if it'll let me do that. Here we go. And it defaults to the vendor type. And I'm not going to worry about adding all the detail now. So I'm going to go ahead and save that. But now what happens is, and we said that this is for a backhoe rental. So we're going to go ahead and recategorize this. And you can go ahead and type equipment rental in here. And it should pop up if you have it. And this is for another day. But I'm going to go ahead and choose job expense for that particular one. So that way we can see it. And then what happens is when we go ahead and I always say you should map a payee for other things that we won't get into today, but you should always map a payee to each of these transactions. And we're going to go ahead and add that from here, okay? Notice what happens when you do that. We have our transaction that, due to the AI I was talking about, it's now suggesting that this category or match is for job expense equipment rental. For some of these, that may be valid. So ideally, what you want to do is you want to make sure as you are looking at not only your source documents, you're looking at your bank statements to see if this is valid. And if this is valid, we can go ahead and just click on add here. But if there's any attachments that you want to add or that have been added to this transaction, you can look at that. Or you can actually go into the receipts area to see if there's any receipts added to this to attach to this. But that's for another day. But right now we're just going to make the assumption that this is for an equipment rental. So like I said, you can actually now, if you close this up, you can filter this out. It'd be the only recognized transaction that we have in here. So if you had a lot of them and wanted to exclude those that are uncategorized, then you would go ahead and click on the all transactions. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to make the assumption where, and you wouldn't normally do this, but just assume that you already have your bank and credit card statements and your source documents here, and you verify that this is for what it's for. So from here, you can either click on add, or you can go ahead and click on add from here. And either way is fine. And since I already have this open, I'm going to go ahead and click on add from here, and that's going to move it over to our register. One thing it will ask when you do this is a rental expense always equipment rental, and it can actually create a rule if you want to. At this point, we're not going to do a rule for that. We're going to actually click on the X here to get out of this. We'll talk about rules in another thing, but once we do that, that moves that into categorized from for review. We're going to go ahead and click on that, and you can see that both of those transactions are in there now. So now we're down to 7 transactions, and they're all uncategorized. I also like to click on the description sometimes, and we have 2 in here by Books by Bessie, and it looks like they have tagged the payee incorrectly. So what we want to do is, let's go ahead and look at this one from from 5/29/2020, and because that's the oldest one, and we want to make sure that we update that payee. I'll get it out eventually. So from Pam Seitz, who's our attorney from last time, she's not the one that does our books, so we want to make sure that we find Books by Bessie, and we can do that by either typing that in or scrolling up. And I'm going to go ahead and type, because what that'll do is it'll eventually bring down a short list, and it finds her, and we're going to go ahead and put that in there. So this is not an uncategorized expense. This is for our bookkeeping. So let's go ahead and type in bookkeeping or bookkeeper. So that's really the one that we want to make sure that we tag with this is Books by Bessie, bookkeeper. And so we're not going to do anything with the rest of this right now. And again, you would have your invoice or bill or whatever, your invoice from her, which would be a bill for you. If you haven't entered that in, that's a whole nother thing that we can talk about. But at this point, we're entering it in after the fact, and it's a cash client. So we can go ahead and look at that, verify that that's correct, the amount and everything as well. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the X up here, because I'm going to go ahead and add from here. And once I do, and that didn't necessarily correct it there, but again, you're going to have to go in and do that, update that manually. So I'm just going to scroll up here and find her this time. I think I overshot it. There we go. And so we're going to do the same thing again. Bookkeeper. And like I said, until the AI recognizes the accounts that are correct on these, or you may have to set up some rules, which is a whole nother thing. We're going to go ahead and click on add here from here, and then that moves that out of the way. And then here's another one that is showing the payee A1 rental. Now, at least it remembered that. This is actually a refund for stuff. So we can either, one of two ways to handle this. We can handle it as a strict refund, or we can just go in here and offset the account that it was originally attributed to and then put a little memo in there. So let's do that. We're going to go ahead and do equipment rental. And that was job expenses that we did. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And it's already showing that it was a refund from the memo on the bank details. So we're just going to leave it like that. And, you know, and like I said, if you have a separate account for refunds that you're tracking, you can do it that way. But 9 times out of 10, you're going to use the offset of the original account for the expense, and that will just decrease the amount in the expense. And I'm going to go ahead and click add from here. And so you would just go through the rest of these until you, and so hardware, this is probably going to be job materials as well. And again, you're going to look at the detail on the receipt that you may have used or whatever. Let's say that they purchased plants and soil. And if it was for a particular customer project, you could put that in there. But like I said, that's for a whole nother tutorial or another video. So we're not going to worry about that here. I'm going to go ahead and click on add here. And then now all of a sudden it's wanting to put that job material, plants and soil for these last 3, which is incorrect. So what I also want to show you is, and we'll do this the next time. I'm not going to do anything else now because I want to add these incorrectly and then show you how to exclude those, or to add them back. You can undo them, and then we'll exclude a few transactions. So that's probably enough today. I know this video is a little bit longer than what we normally do, but hopefully this will help you today. And so next time we're going to work on excluding, and also if you add something in error, we need to know how to undo that so that we can fix that. Hope you all have a wonderful day. Take care, everybody. Thank you for watching. I would love it if you would like and subscribe to my channel, as well as share it with others. I am adding on average 1 video per week, including the occasional motivational video. I would love nothing more than to help you maximize your usage of QuickBooks Desktop and online. My email is below, as well as a number where you can text me for more information and to set up an initial consult. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day.